Jury Duty is the most surprising show of 2023. I went in relatively unknown about the show, having only seen the trailer, which honestly underwhelmed me.
This literally feels like reality TV.
Oh.
And the place it premiered, Freevee? I had no idea what Freevee was, outside the fact it sounds like some sort of rash cream. None of it was enough to win me over, and frankly, I'm not really sure why I took the dive with the show, but honestly, I'm glad I did.
But I wouldn't trip about it, man.
Who's the owner of the boner?
Sometimes if you do a panoramic, if you're pulling it, and if you pull it too fast, it stretches it out. That could be a situation right there in the pants.
She don't have a big booty, but he got a big ass dick.
Jury Duty is a sitcom TV series created by Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stupinski. The two have worked together on various things, but are probably most known for their work on, surprising, The Office. The series follows the inner workings of a jury overseeing a trial here in the United States. It's filmed in a documentary style, and those familiar with The Office will come quickly accustomed to what is being done here.
I just wanted to present this to my foreperson, my memory,
Oh, dude, you don't gotta do that.
to him.
The twist here is that every single person on the show is an actor outside of one person. The case, the situation, and everything is created to be as believable as possible with one man, Ronald Gladden, on the outside with zero clue. Ronald is told that this is a documentary on juries and the process of how a jury deliberates a case.
Big meeting this. There you go. I mean, how long does this normally take? Have you done this before?
The 8-episode season, available now for free if you have Amazon Prime, wasn't anything I was expecting.
Get this thing for pulling stuff, machines, whirring and clicking and clanking. This is a gold mine. This is Disneyland for everyman.
Admittedly, I was underwhelmed by the trailers. The synopsis sounds strange, and no offense to the minds behind the idea, but they're not exactly Christopher Nolan. To my surprise, Jury Duty won me over in a handful of ways and left me pleasantly surprised.
As you can see here, my client showed up for work on the day of the incident, and this is...
For those looking for noticeable actors, you might find a few, but most notable is James Marsden.
Chanted in Westworld and stuff like that, but Notebook.
Oh shit, you're in Westworld?
Yeah.
Marsden has been a pretty well-established actor for well over 2 decades and plays into the role of himself perfectly.
Like I've been treated differently in a negative way. Doesn't really sit right with me, to be honest. Feel marginalization. Lonnie, what about you? As an alternate juror, is this the first time you ever felt like treated less than, or?
He feels a touch or two outside of being a Tropic Thunder character, but wonderfully embodies what we as civilians think of Hollywood actors.
Oh, shit. Oh. Sorry. Jump scare.
Don't worry, Ronald immediately recognizes him, which adds to some tender moments between the two, including Ronald helping Marsden try to get a role for a ridiculous Quentin Tarantino script, which again isn't real.
Huh? I don't think I need to know what exactly happened down by that.
Yeah, especially, like you said, if this is one of those things that doesn't answer all of your questions.
The whole script was confusing.
Marsden steals the show.
Which Chris? Don't say Chris Pine.
Damn it! God damn it!
But he's also aided from a cast of relatively unknown actors who all have their own backstories.
Sir.
I also am racist.
Sir, please have a seat.
Despite not always being on camera or around Ronald, everyone plays a role wonderfully on camera. So much so that Ronald never once has a clue what's going on. I thought for a moment that the entire thing was honestly bullshit, but enough is done to show that the show is in fact genuine. Perhaps the biggest problem, and one you might be thinking of by now, isn't this all kind of cruel? Prank shows by nature, to me, always do feel kind of cruel. I am a huge fan of Impractical Jokers, but they've always walked the line by making the joke about themselves, not about other people.
Now inhale his breath. Oh. Inhale his breath. I am Hinchins. I am Hinchins.
They're not embarrassing other people, but themselves. Here, everyone from the judge, to the case, to the stories by the actors, are all made up to make Ronald believe something.
We can't have things like this going on. I need you to stay on top of this. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Isn't that kinda mean? For some reason, it never comes off as mean, and that's mainly because the real star of the show is Ronald. From the get-go, Ronald comes off as entirely endearing, somehow managing to balance his viewpoints with never hurting someone else's.
So I slipped a note to Ronald just to let him know some rudimentary signs that we might use to communicate. 1 knock equals I'm awake.
The patience he shows throughout the entire show with this eccentric cast of characters is outstanding.
No, I just feel like I made a mistake. I mean, you should definitely call her, for sure. And you can tell her what happened, too. Like, you literally got drunk on accident.
Oftentimes, he's put into a situation where someone might get ugly or just say, what the hell is happening?
I could see his thought process, too, because when we first got here, we didn't know what we couldn't do.
Ronald wrote back, works for me, just let me know if you need anything.
Ronald deals with it all so easily that makes you immediately fall in love with him. I don't want to spoil anything, and yes, I do feel the show has plenty to ruin.
You remember the movie Sonic? Yeah. That's the one with the new one with Jim Carrey, right? Yeah. I heard that was not a good movie.
The last episode in the season is exactly what I wanted from this series, and by the time you're about halfway through, you'll be asking yourself what will soon be answered. Ronald's time through the show doesn't go unnoticed, and is made up for plenty. I'll happily admit the last 2 episodes made me kind of teary-eyed.
I can only imagine. We've got to get this finished.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It appears in my old age I've become a bit of an emotional old tot. Who would have thought?
An unmitigated disaster.
Jury Duty is one of, if not the most surprising shows on television in 2023.
We don't know.
Clearly, he has an erection.
This is a filter. They used the penis app on this.
I think that's the one thing that's not arguable.
It proves quite a bit to the audience. Like, actors can be excellent actors, even without the big roles or accolades.
It's true, isn't it, sir, that you were once arrested for masturbating in a public movie theater? That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. What was the movie? It was Pacific Rim Uprising.
And most importantly, you can be a good person regardless of circumstance, fault, or even inconvenience. It takes nothing out of your day to do the right thing, to be nice, and Ronald honestly shows that. Jury comes highly recommended. As usual, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, tots.